Please stand for the flag salute. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Turner? Here. Ms. Blystein? Mr. Bromhall?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Gaffney?
Here.
Ms. Iacone?
Here.
Mr. Kenny?
Here.
Ms. Quinn? Ms. Fitzwater, here. Statement is hereby made that adequate notice of this meeting was given by submission of said notice to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, the Cinnaminson Township Clerk, and the district website on March 3rd, 2023, March 8th, 2023, March 29th, 2023, and April 4th, 2023. Mrs. Turner, can I have a motion to convene into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're now going into executive session. We will be back here approximately 7:05. Reconvene the public session.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we're back in public session. Good evening, everybody. We are going to be in Section 4, Routine Business. Item A, the Board Secretary's Report for February of 2023, the Treasurer's Report for February of 23, the Budget Receipts and Transfers for February of 23, the Monthly Transfer Report as of April 4th, 2023, the High School Activities Report for March, the Food Service Management Cost Performance Statement for March, the Certified Bill List, March 16th through March 31st, and April 1st through April 4th. Approval of minutes, regular minutes of March 14th, the confidential minutes Session A of March 14th, and the confidential minutes of Session B on March 14th. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve Section 4, routine business items A through H?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Blystein?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 5, routine matters. We have A, the enrollment report for April 17th, the health report for March of 23, the fire alarm report for March of 23, the crisis drill report for March of 23, the HIB report as of April 2023, and the superintendent's monthly report. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Thank you, members of the public who are here in attendance, and of course, thank you to the board. I want to begin my report this evening with a little bit of an update on where the district stands in regards to some recent storm damage from the tornado that touched down in town. If you've walked along the campus of the high school and the Rush School, you'll notice a number of trees that were taken down, some fencing that was impacted. By way of reports, it could certainly be significantly worse. But I did want to point out that we will continue to have some trees and some fencing impacted as we work it out with insurance. So appreciate the public's patience in staying away from anything that could potentially be impactful to sporting events. But in terms of interruptions to the educational programming, happy to report that we do not have any, and looking to get all of that storm damage cleared up as we work with the township, and appreciate all of the help that we've received from Mr. Norman and the folks from Emergency Management Response. As I transition my comments to recognizing some folks for a job well done, just before our spring break, Mrs. Harding put on the first grade concert and did a terrific job. She has an amazing knack for getting like 120 first graders to sound like one powerful unit, and it's always a fantastic show, and did another great job this year. For anybody that had a chance to attend it, I'm sure you'll agree with me. And even for the first time this year, we had the opportunity to live stream it out just to those parents, so folks who couldn't make it during the day had an opportunity to view it. So I'd also like to recognize Mr. Creel and his team for making that happen. Also had the Rush concert just before break. They did a Motown show with the fourth grade, and that was also excellent, and much credit to Mrs. Marr for a fantastic and fun show that was also streamed live to members of the public. So great job again to our technology team and to Mrs. Marr. Earlier this month, April 2nd through 7th, we celebrated Assistant Principals Appreciation Week, and I just wanted to take an opportunity to name check some of our folks who are oftentimes overlooked or underappreciated, and that's Mrs. Calfazade, Miss Mealy, Miss Nelson, Mr. Miley, Dr. McCann, and Mr. Wilkinson. Without their help and impact, our schools would not be able to function in the manner that they do. So we certainly appreciate them early April and throughout the entire year. I'd like to make a plug to members of our community on behalf of some really exceptional students at the high school who put together and planned a Students First Staff soccer game to honor a Rush student who unfortunately passed earlier this year. So I'd like to recognize Riley Vogelman, Nicole Howell, Sri Ramalongo, Brooke Stanovenovich, Leah Del Grippo, and under the help of Dr. McCann and Mrs. Arbalez from the high school, this Students First Staff soccer game fundraiser was entirely born from these students who just wanted to do something to recognize and help a hurting community and to raise money on behalf of the Cinnaminson students. So great job and great effort by them. They are selling these yellow bracelets in support of the cause. They are $2 a piece, and I have a group of them here with me this evening if any members of the public would like to purchase. And anybody at home watching on streaming, you certainly can get one for yourself via your children at all five of our district schools. I mentioned some of these senior students. This really is an exceptional senior class, and we're going to certainly take the next couple of months to celebrate them a lot. But I would be remiss if I didn't point out and recognize, for the first time, at least in my tenure as superintendent or in recent history, our Cinnaminson students were accepted or selectively remove themselves from the wait list for all 8 Ivy League schools, which is a feat that is not replicated in any area of school, to my knowledge, and it's not something that typically happens at this level of success. In addition to that, we've had students accepted to MIT, Duke, UVA, West Point, really fantastic institutions, and it is a real testament to this senior class, and over the next couple of months, we're going to celebrate all of them who are moving on to do some very wonderful things. I hope I'm not saying anything presumptively, but I did read on Instagram that our own board representative, who we're going to hear from in a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong, has already committed to Princeton?
Yep.
Correct? Small boutique New Jersey school, best college in the world, whatever you want to call it, but fantastic accomplishment by many of these students. I want to wish good luck to our folks from DECA who are going to be competing in nationals real soon. And I don't want to steal any thunder, as I tend to do from the middle school or high schoolers, but I also fear stealing some of the thunder from this evening. We are going to hear from, also to my knowledge, our first ever Rush reporter. We're going to get a student report from Rush Elementary School, so we're very excited about that. And I will just note in ending my reports, if you've enjoyed this evening's board meeting, we are going to have a public hearing on our proposed 2023-2004 budget on Tuesday, April 25th, and that will take place at 5 p.m. Mrs. Fitzwater, that is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Capillo. Mr. Bromhall, can I have a motion to approve Section 5 routine matters, items A through F?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Quinn. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Evans?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 6, the student representative.
Class of 2024, Zoe Howard. Class of 2025, Timothy O'Connor. And Class of 2026, Max Beaufray. For an update on spring sports, the baseball team's current record is 5-2. The team's captains are Dalton McDonald, Ryan Horner, Alex LePage, and Kyle McDonough. The team's senior night is May 17th against Riverside. For softball, the team's record is 2-3. The captains are Ella Straub, Zara McNair, and Madden Rittler. The senior night is May 2nd against Holy Cross. For girls lacrosse, the team record is 5-1. The captains are Bella Lorimer, Haley Kardonic, Brooke Stendelovich, and Sofia Gonzalez. The team's senior night is Friday, April 21st against Maple Shade. The boys lacrosse team has a record of 4-3. The team's captains are Owen Tork, Isaiah Ruiz, and Connor Gutowski. For track and field, for the first time in school history, a team qualified for the distance medley relay at the Penn Relays. Only 16 teams made the cut, so it's an honor to qualify. Congratulations, Matt McCarron, Josiah St. Ellen, Derek Cosiano, and Alex Boyko. Also headed to the Penn Relays are Derek Robinson and Malachi Etienne, as they were both accepted to the prestigious Penn Relays as the top athletes in each of their events. Derek will be high jumping against athletes from 8 other states and Jamaica. Malachi has the top throw in all of South Jersey in the shot put and will compete against discus throwers from Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and 7 states. Both teams are 1-0 in their seasons, defeating Seneca on Thursday, April 13th. The Cinnaminson girls had a stellar day at the Don Dancer Relays. The girls' relay teams placed first in the sprint medley relay, the distance medley relay, and the shuttle hurdle relay. The girls also finished first in the 4x100 relay. Leah Del Grupo finished first in the discus. Sophia Willers placed first in the girls' pole vault, and Shiloh Moore took first place in the triple jump. Natalie Surma placed second in the long jump, and Rochelle Johnson placed third in the shot put. Also performing well at the Don Dancer Relays, the boys' track team brought home victories: Malachi Etienne in the shot put and discus, and Derek Robinson in the high jump. For boys' tennis, the team record is 1-2. Their senior match is April 27th against Pemberton. The captain is Evan Kozich. The golf team record is 3-2. The captains are Matt Walter and Sonny Leone. Their senior match is on May 17th. For boys volleyball, the team's record is 1-3. Their senior night is April 25th against Pennsauken. The captains are Andrew Zemecki and Jared Edwards. The World Affairs Council students participated in the Global Economic Forum at Drexel University, where they worked with other students from around the region to propose solutions to current global economic issues. Junior Lun Jiang was awarded for his efforts. The junior class is hosting this year's Junior-Senior Prom, A Starry Night, which will be held on May 19th at the Mushaloo in Philadelphia from 6 to 10 p.m. Tickets are currently being sold, and everyone is excited for the upcoming event. NHS members hold tutoring sessions every Tuesday in the library from 2:15 to 2:45. Students are able to get any academic help they need. And finally, DECA begins its International Career Development Conference this weekend. During the week of March 17th to the 24th, DECA held a fundraiser for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, in which the members asked people to donate money, and in turn they wrote their names on a shamrock that was pinned up on the high school's back hall next to the student store. $363 were raised during this time and donated to MDA prior to the March 31st deadline. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Questions from the board? All right, we'll move into our middle school student representative report, and Lucia Chalette.
Good evening. Cinnaminson Middle School is proud to announce its students for the month of March. Congratulations to 6th grader Jake Kirkashian, 7th grader Skylar Nachersky, and 8th grader Ava Smith. CMS Athletics has kicked off with preseason practices starting the week of March 20th. All but one of our teams were able to get one competition before spring break. Boys A and B baseball have played one game and both lost, so they are both 0-1. A lost to Bordentown and B lost to Medford Lakes. Girls lacrosse A has a 1-1 record with their win coming against DeMassey Middle. Girls lacrosse B has a 0-1 record, losing to William Allen Middle. Girls softball A is 0-1, losing to Bordentown, and girls softball B is 0-0 with their first game today versus Burlington City. CMS track and field competed during the first week of April at William Allen Middle. Our team successfully defeated Palmyra, Hainesport, and Durant. William Allen was the only team that narrowly defeated our track team. In addition, our boys and girls relay teams competed during spring break in the Pennsauken Relays to qualify for the nationally recognized Penn Relays. Our boys teams were lucky enough to be one of the few teams to qualify and will compete next week in the Penn Relays. Unfortunately, our girls missed the cut by one spot. The coaches are very proud of both teams' efforts and dedication to their sport. The 7th grade NJHS met on Wednesday, April 5th. Students designed placemats for those who dine in the cafeterias at Cathedral Kitchen, the largest emergency food provider in Camden. The 8th grade meeting was today, Tuesday, April 18th. Students created little care packages and door signs for all faculty and staff at Cinnaminson Middle School in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week. The Stop Club is collecting donations for the Good Counsel Home in Riverside. The Good Counsel Home is nationally recognized nonprofit women and children's shelter that solely runs off donations from generous individuals. It offers residential care and community-based services for homeless, expectant, and new mothers along with their children. We are hoping to collect toiletries and clothing for women over the age of 18, as well as baby items such as wipes, diapers, formula, clothing, blankets, toys, and bibs. Your donations will help ensure the success of women and children at the Good Counsel Home. On April 27th at 6:30 p.m. at CHS, students and staff will participate in a soccer game for kicking cancer in honor of CMS 8th grader Maddie Harris. April's Autism Acceptance Month. This year's theme across the state of New Jersey for Autism Acceptance Month is Colors of My World. This theme encourages schools to take part in fostering autism spectrum disorder awareness to promote understanding and acceptance for individuals with ASD in their schools and surrounding communities. Our goal is to celebrate the diversity and unique contributions individuals with ASD make daily in the classroom. Some important dates in April are April 21st, the third marking period report cards available online. April 26th is the 6th grade field trip to Philadelphia. And April 27th is Take Your Child's Work Day. Thank you, and I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you, Lucia. Comments or questions from the board? Okay, we will move on to our Eleanor Rush School Student Representative Report and Avina Patel.
Good evening. My name is Avina Patel, and I'm a 5th grader at Rush School. The March Students of the Month were announced as and are as follows. Valentina Riley for 3rd grade, Aaron Liu for 4th grade, Jack Katsikas for 5th grade, and Derek Napoli who received the specialist nomination. These students consistently go above and beyond the ERS expectations and are excellent role models for their classmates. April's World Autism Acceptance Month, and this year's theme across the state of New Jersey is Colors of My World. To kick off and celebrate Autism Acceptance Month, students at Rush School wore bright multicolored clothing on April 5th within the goal of celebrating the diversity and unique contributions individuals with autism spectrum disorder make daily in the classroom. ERS hosted its spring concert on Wednesday, April 5th at the Cinnaminson High School. 4th graders and advanced choir students in grades 3 and 5 performed a Motown tribute to a packed house. Song selections include Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Please Mr. Postman, Love Train, and many others. Under the direction of Mrs. Marr, students gave it their all to put on a phenomenal performance featuring several incredible soloists. Tomorrow is the annual 4th grade water festival. Students will travel to Pimaura Cove for fun activities led by volunteers that focus on water conservation and the importance of keeping our waterways clean. In preparation for the event, over 30 students submitted rain stick creations, which have been voted on by Rush and Memorial staff members. Winners in multiple categories will be announced at the end of the festival day. Rush School will hold its first ever STEAM night on May 3rd for Rush School families. Students and their families will be able to participate in 3 sessions focused on integrating technology with art, math, science, and engineering run by staff volunteers. There will be a Rita's Water Ice Night sponsored by the Cinnaminson Elementary Home and School Association on May 24th at their Cinnaminson Avenue location. Please mark your calendars for Field Day on May 31st. Mr. Bulbasari will be in need of parent volunteers to run the several fun and active stations. Lastly, there are a few exciting field trips coming up. On April 27th, 4th grade will be going to Camden County College to see a play, Number the Stars. On May 19th, 5th grade students will visit the National Constitution Center, as well as take a part in walking tour of historic Philadelphia. On May 30th, third grade students will visit the Franklin Institute. Fourth and fifth grade students will also head back to Camp Occonequan in early June. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Avina.
That's worth a read.
Thank you very much. You did great. All right, we're going to move on to section 7, presentations, and the first one we have is Sodexo and Mrs. Lisa Friedrich.
Good job. Well done.
Every year, Sodexo, when students come back to school for the high school, they do a Healthy High School Challenge. And it is encouraging students to purchase full meals, making sure they take their fruits and vegetables, as well as the snacks that we're selling are all healthy snacks. We compete against the entire country, all Sodexo accounts, and this year Cinnaminson came in at 41st in the country, and I would like to present Ryan Gorman a check for $500 from Sodexo to Cinnaminson High School.
Great mindset, great.
Thank you for that, and if you would, please extend our appreciation to the folks at Sodexo who have always been very supportive of our partnership with our schools and giving back to our schools. Thank you, Lisa.
And we're going to have one more presentation, a little bit longer, and that's our technology one-year update on our district's one-to-one Chrome distribution, and that will be our Director of Technology, Steve Creel.
And guests.
And guests.
And many guests.
If any board members would like to relocate to the front row, I'm going to behind you.
That's why. So I just want to share an update. We'll review some mechanics of our Chromebook program, a little bit of an update on where we are, where we've been, and then the building principals will have some school-specific, classroom-based information and updates for you. So just a reminder, the framework of our program, we have 2,178 students with Chromebooks that are assigned to them, that they're able to use at school, at home as they need in grades 3 through 12. And then New Albany classes, first and second grade classes, each classroom has their own cart with enough devices for the students that are in that room. And kindergarten classes have access to carts that they can share with a neighboring class so that, their need is a little bit less frequent, but they've got access to the devices when they need them. So our distribution, we began the purchasing process mid-2021. We were able to get a hold of those devices in the fall at the height of the pandemic supply chain issues, and we got those devices distributed out when students returned in January. So they've had them for the last half of last school year and all of this year so far, I think 15 months back from today. So when we got to the summer, we let seniors keep their devices, seniors returned their devices. We let other students keep their devices. We had seen in the summers prior, there were a lot of requests for, I'm taking this college class online, I'm doing this other workshop, I'm doing this camp, and students that wanted to be able to keep the devices. We did that. Delightfully, there was no mass damage to the devices, no mass loss, and everybody showed back up in September with theirs. So we took the devices that we collected back from seniors, issued them out to third grade students as they came into Rush on the first day of school, so they had their new devices. Just a reminder on the funding. So we used two federal funding sources for this. The ESSER money that we used paid for, I'm going to look at my chart and not make the number up, 62% of that purchase, and then the FCC-administered Emergency Connectivity Fund was responsible for the remaining 38%. A couple interesting points here. So we have 92% of our devices, when you add up the devices that are at the high school, middle school, and Rush, are assigned directly to individual students. When you add in the school-based spares, these are devices that are in each school's library so that they can, when somebody forgets their device or something's not working right, that number goes up to 96% of the devices that we purchase that are, always in students' hands and for use, leaving only 3.6% of our total fleet that are, overhead in terms of spares on the shelf for new students. This year we saw as the student population grew, we needed to have that reserve so that we could have devices to issue out. A couple items to highlight and make interesting the mechanics of this kind of stuff. So we're doing all of the repairs on these devices in-house. That offers us a couple wins. So it's far more cost effective for us to be able to do it in-house than buying device insurance policies or paying for extended warranties from the manufacturer. But it's also a lot faster. We're able to collect back a broken device, repair it, and have it back in the kid's hands 3 or 4 days later, where you're going to spend 3 or 4 days shipping if you use some other kind of service to do that. The other item I want to highlight on this slide, when new students enroll, their first day of school, they have access to a device on that first day. So I come in, I don't have my own device assigned to me yet, but I can go to the library, I can get a device before I show up in my classroom, and now I'm able to have a device and participate if that's what's needed on the first day of school. A couple repair items. So we've had, in the 15 months that students have had devices, we've had 120 incidents of Chromebook damage. 5.5% of devices, just for some kind of sense of, how frequently are we seeing damage and what's happening with that. 80 of those 120 are damaged screens where something happened and I dropped it down the stairs, I sat on it, all the things you would think. Then we've had 12 incidents where they were just destroyed to such extent that they had to replace those devices. But again, at 1 year or approximately 25% of the life of the device, a 0.6% on that, we kind of came out where we wanted to be. And so that tells us that students are taking care of the devices, and they're holding up the way we had hoped they would. So that's what I have to share for you to get started, and then Mrs. DeSimone is going to cover a little bit of the use at Rush.
Good evening, everyone. So before the implementation of the one-to-one initiative, we had carts that would be shared among several classrooms, several teachers. So there were often, conflicts with schedules and people bargaining if, can I take it at this time, if you can use it at this time. Sometimes there was some arm wrestling. But the main benefit, there are many benefits to this, but one of the main benefits is that through direct instruction by our STEM teacher, Mr. Angelone, he has done a ton of work with students in the Google Suite, teaching about docs and slides, form sheets. I'm sure he's taken over from the STEM instruction they had at New Albany. They also work in coding and other creative platforms such as Chrome Music Lab and Pear Deck. The students have become very proficient at putting into practice many of the tech tools that they will need to use throughout their education in Cinnaminson and hopefully beyond. Another benefit that you will often see students utilizing their Chromebooks for quick formative assessments during a lesson. So whether it's at the beginning of a lesson to gauge their prior knowledge of a concept or as an exit ticket to measure their learning progress, they will use those. It gives quick feedback to the teachers so that they then may create instruction almost immediately to make sure that the students are getting focused skill instruction, whether it's remediation or enrichment. Additionally, while the teachers are working in small groups, which in our school is often happening. The students that are not in that small group will often be cycling through stations, and technology has become a mainstay in those stations. So with that, they will go over, they can practice past skills, they can practice basic facts, and work through access of several online platforms such as Reflex, Math, Lexia, Edpuzzle, Khan Academy, Freckle, Legends of Learning, to name a few. And of course, an incredible benefit of this initiative is that it has evened the playing field for our students when it comes to access to technology at home. While at Rush School, we don't necessarily give a ton of homework on the Chromebooks, what can happen is if a student forgets their practice sheet or their practice book, then they can access the online version of that. So the technology has provided some access for all students. These are just a few of the examples, but it has advanced so much that students' teachers can record their voices reading the questions ahead of time, and students can simply put on their headphones and take the assessment along with the other students in the classroom, and they can receive that modification without having to be pulled aside or so that the questions are read aloud to them at a separate time. That picture over to the side shows you that's a Number the Stars quiz that has that voice note underneath. When the student clicks on that voice note, they hear their teacher, actually this is Miss Jackie King, who has recorded those, and hear them reading not only the question but all of the answers. She has done this and has taught many of our teachers how to do this, so that's been wonderful. They also use that for when the teacher is not able to sit right there with them during stations. They can use that during their independent stations, and I'll show you an example on the next slide. Also, our ELL students and those students whose life experiences may be a little more limited, they can be provided with slideshows or videos to watch in order to build their schema before starting a new concept. Okay, and this is an example of the independent work that they might do at a math station. And what this student will do, the comment on the side has the voice note, and when they click that comment, they hear their teacher reading through the problem and also giving them clues as to, little reminders of how to solve that. And finally, these are a few of our interactive project examples that the students have worked on thus far this year. In third grade, they worked independently on an ecosystem project where they did research about ecosystems. They put together a slideshow and presented it to their class through the Promethean board. In the lower right-hand corner, you can see a fourth grade student also presenting on her culture. She's a Turkish student, so she was talking about just different aspects of the Turkish culture and teaching her classmates about it, and using her Chromebook hooked up to the Promethean boards, which have been also a huge benefit. And fifth grade have done a cooperative land project on rock formations. You can see 3 students worked on that and worked on that cooperatively as they shared a slideshow. I'm going to pass it over to Mrs. Melcher.
Thank you, and good evening. For tonight's presentation, I just kind of made some contact with our staff members and asked them if they'd share what for them have been some of the greatest highlights or benefits of the one-to-one initiative on the day-to-day basis in the classroom, and I got a lot of great feedback. So I just wanted to highlight some of the few things that I heard most frequently. And to begin, the ability to provide feedback on student learning in real time has been a great asset for us at the middle school as well. This example that you see on this slide was provided by a special education teacher who has used tools like this in guided classwork so that the teacher can be either providing one-on-one or small group instruction while independent learners are moving ahead with content and material. On this example graph that you see, if the student answered correct, the cell turns green. And if they're incorrect, the cell turns red. So it provides them with an instant alert to whether or not they are answering correctly or incorrectly, which should signal to the student whether or not they should request more support or assistance, try again, or if they are being met with success. Additionally, this example here reminds me of a board meeting a couple months ago when we had a furry friend here, but we have an opportunity to kind of generate pixel art. So this student, for example, is solving problems in math. If the answer is correct, it illuminates the cell with a few pixels in that color, and the image slowly starts to form as they are getting further and further along in their problem solving. If it's incorrect, it stays white. So again, just some creative examples that allow students in real time to see if they're being met with success, or again, if they might need to advocate for some additional support. Also, similarly to the success seen at Rush, the creativity of our teachers coupled with these tools in their hands has yielded some really great interactive student learning opportunities. Kids can collaborate, and they can also obviously show off their technology skills that very often surpass those of the adults in the room, but it's always cool to learn from the kids too. Lucia, our Board of Ed liaison, is actually featured here on this slide for a French project. The 8th grade students were able to complete a photo scavenger hunt. They were practicing place prepositions. So Lucia is on the chair in French, or she is under her notebook. So fun activities like this allow the students to practice their use of language, but also sharpen those technology skills. In social studies, students have been working on teams on a shared Google Doc. They were writing song parodies about a political party of their choosing, and then in this picture you can see they get together and, if they're feeling brave enough, perform it in front of the class. More volunteers than you would expect, but the kids had a lot of fun with that one too. And lastly, science, especially an area where you see a lot of really abstract concepts that can be difficult for a kid to conceptualize or visualize, like the vastness of space or millions of years worth of plate motion that they can watch happen in minutes or seconds on their screen, has really also just allowed students to access content that would be otherwise impossible to replicate in the classroom. Hopefully parents have found this to be an equally helpful tool, but a lot of the teachers highlighted that they really felt like Google Classroom has helped bridge the gap between home and school. Middle school students are not often known for giving all the details of their day, despite their parents' efforts to pry for some information. And having Google Classroom allows parents, when they want or need to, gain access to what's going on in their child's classes, a great place for them to do that. Or if they happen to be absent, they can almost fill in, I would say, a very large portion of their day simply by navigating Google Classroom and seeing what resources are available from the day's work. And lastly, one of the teachers said it perfectly, that frankly, it just levels the playing field for all of her students. And I couldn't agree with this part more. If teachers do want to send students home with the expectation that something needs to be completed with technology, knowing that every single student is leaving with what they need in their hands, truly is just an equalizer and has made this accessible for all of our kids. And just to wrap up, I do want to publicly thank Mr. Creel and his team. They are basically now running a Chromebook nurse's office. And, even if a kid has a problem with a device, they never go without. We always have spares in our media center accessible for the kids. The turnaround time has been amazing, so I do want to thank them for allowing us to keep these tools in the hands of our students. So I'd like to turn over to Mr. Gorman, who will speak about implementation at the high school.
Good evening, everyone. I think having the honor of going last means I have to try to find something that's different from everything everybody said before me. So some of my slides I'll go over a little quickly, but I will say that the 101 initiative here at the high school has really been a fantastic extension of the BYOT initiative that we had started prior to that, right? So prior to that, we were really relying on students to have access to a phone or to a tablet that they could bring with them to school, and then we would use that patchwork of devices to try to implement lessons, leaving us with a variety of platforms upon which we're trying to deliver these lessons. So it really became challenging for teachers to make sure that this thing that would work on an iPhone might not work on a Samsung, and et cetera. So having a standard platform across all of the students has really facilitated the integration of technology in all of our lessons. I think if you look at just volume, G Suite is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, right? The vast majority of the interactions we have through the one-to-one initiative is through G Suite. In particular, Google Classroom is a communication game changer, in my opinion. It allows not only for parents and students at home to access information that they may have had in class, but it also eliminates much of the, I forgot my homework in my locker, I forgot my whatever under my bed, my textbook is in my locker, therefore, Dad, I can't possibly do my math homework, should not really be that much of an issue anymore because the vast majority of that information is available through G Suite. I selected a variety of third-party apps. I think you'll see many more than that, but these are some of the ones that I think have been most successfully integrated in what we're doing. And what it really does is create interactive platforms through which students can either take notes or share presentations that they get from the teachers or interact with science lab simulations, for example, right at their desk without eliminating some of the modeling that would happen when I was standing in front of a classroom, right? I would find something really cool that I wanted to show to my class, but I would have to do it through my own computer. I'd have to demonstrate it on a projector, and I'd have to hope that I was able to translate that personal experience that I had with whatever that item was into a shared experience for everyone. And now we have an opportunity for each of those students to have that direct experience on their own. I really think that the document sharing and facilitating has been revolutionary to kids' ability to collaborate on projects. Whether it's in real time, working on a document, whether it's after school, being able to share without necessarily needing to be in the same physical space. I think one of the places I see it most often in direct observations is the writing process. So it fundamentally changed the writing process for English teachers. You get to respond directly to a kid's rough draft, directly to while they're working in the document. You can comment on the document, and it completely eliminates the delay time of, here's what we've talked about in school. Take that information, synthesize it into some kind of written document over the next however long that is, right? So if it's something sophisticated, that timeline is going to be longer. I can't see it until you've turned in your rough draft. Now I'll make some comments. Now that kid has not talked about it for 3 or 4 days while we get it back from a teacher before we start a rough draft. All of that has been condensed into one seamless process that happens the whole time. Before I move on from this slide, we also got a lot of really powerful teacher tools that we can now use in order to ensure that our lessons are most directly aligned with both state standards and some of our premier classes. For instance, AP are aligned to an AP test, right? So we have the NJDOE Digital Item Library, which gives us a bunch of sample questions that are ensured to be aligned to standardized testing and to the state curriculum, which allows us to give kids practice problems while embedding them directly into our normal standards and in our curriculum. It also has really facilitated our ability to use Link It, which has been a district-wide initiative that allows us to do real-time or near to real-time tracking of students' completion of standards. And really provides the teachers with a wealth of information that they can use to ensure that their teaching is directly on target with where we want it to be for that time of year. I picked out a couple sample projects. This one I thought was pretty cool. This came in our Honor and Modern World History class. The students were given a series, each one of those hexagons had a thought or a person or a concept or a philosophy on it, and their job was to interconnect them in a way that ensured that every concept that was touching another concept was directly related to that concept. So it couldn't share a border with any concept or hexagon of a concept that wasn't related to that border. So that really requires a really sophisticated understanding of each concept and how they interrelate to each other in order for a student to be able to put that together in a way that their grid would align with the expectations of the assignment. I thought it was one of those things that, if done on little pieces of paper that you stick on your desk or you try to glue together or whatever, that would become the project, right? The project would be manipulating the tabs as opposed to allowing the kids to really focus on identifying the concepts and ensuring that they understand their interconnectivity. In math, we've done a tremendous amount of work using things like Desmos and the program that goes along with our curriculum that allows teachers to design problems that are specifically aligned with the curriculum. It allows the students to complete those problems in real time while the teacher is able to monitor their progress, and that is in every level. So whether that particular class is an honors pre-calc class, we're using the same software in an Algebra 1 class. It really allows us to make sure that every student, regardless of which class they're enrolled in, and is having a similar experience and getting some of the same access to high-end concepts that we're looking to make sure that they understand. I echo the sentiments of everybody that came before me about access and making sure that everyone has consistent technology and the ability to do it, but I think that the high school in particular, where it's been incredibly important, is with our EL students. We're constantly asking them to translate information, to understand information that perhaps is not in their native language, websites, documents, whatever that might be. All of that required a lot of labor in order to make sure that they had what they needed every day in order to be ready for class, and now that requires one click of a button. So that takes all of that energy off of the student or off of the teacher or whoever is preparing each of those individual learning experiences, and just makes it they're very efficient to have them participate in the class regardless of where they are in their journey in language acquisition. That's the end for the high school.
I thought you were grabbing my last slide there.
I will.
So, the way the devices are used in every building is different, though it's the same device, and we see kids take their device from Rush to the middle school this year. But how it gets used is really more a function of every individual classroom and capitalizing on what everything's capable of. So looking ahead this year, we'll collect, had our first conversation earlier today about collecting devices back from graduating seniors, prior to graduation. Over the summer, we'll turn those devices around. They'll be waiting for Rush's incoming third grade students back in September. Any questions that I can answer for you about the program, about what we've been doing with it or what we will be doing?
Thank you, Mr. Grill.
Well, Mrs. Turner has a question.
Is there any way this will take place in Q1 after they get their device?
That's a great question. I do not currently have plans for them to replace the TI-83 or more sophisticated calculators some students have. But it's certainly something we can investigate. I believe that the vast majority of the functionality that exists would exist on the computer, but decimals, for instance, is pre-programmed problems that the kids can use to practice the curriculum. It doesn't necessarily lend itself to answering any problem that they might be presented unless it's been previously packaged. So let me look into it.
I know that's a big thing for parents.
Yeah, sure.
They use it every.
Some of it might come into what's acceptable in the testing room. Like when you take the SATs, you can't bring a Chromebook with you. You might need a calculator in order to do that.
Yeah.
So not all of that decision-making will live solely in the high school. But it certainly might allow us to come up with some solutions for kids that might need access that we're currently having.
All right, Mr. Creel, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gorman, Ms. DeSimone, Ms. Melcher. Fabulous. And if I could just editorialize a little bit as the rest of the board members are making their way back up front. I've had the pleasure of working in a number of districts, and even myself, I've had a background in technology, and I can wholeheartedly say that Mr. Creel and his team from the technology department exceed my expectations on a daily basis, and are definitely the finest example of technology that I've had the privilege of working with. So it's really a tribute to the leadership, Mr. Creel, that you have done, and to your department's ability to remain responsive to the needs of our teachers and students. So thank you.
I second that. Okay, we're moving on to Section 8, correspondence to the board. Anyone have anything to share? Okay, we will move on to Section 9. We didn't have any committee meetings this month, so we'll move on to Section 10, public comment on, agenda items. That was a hard word. So members of the public are reminded that comments should be limited to items appearing on this meeting's agenda. There'll be another opportunity during this meeting to comment on non-agenda items. Is there anyone who would like to comment on agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on to Section 11, personnel certificated. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under Section 11, Personnel Certificated, letter A, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 3. Under letter B, we have no retirements, resignations. Under letter C, overload, seeking the board to approve item number 1 as listed in the agenda. Moving down to the next section, letter E, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 1 through 11 as listed in the agenda. Their leaves of absence, seeking the board to approve one item for the employee listed under item number 1 in the agenda. And down to letter G, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 5 as listed in the agenda. Under letter H, tutor, seeking the board to approve items 1 and 2 as listed in the agenda. We have no student teachers or mentor teachers this month for approval, so that is personnel certificated. Mrs. Fitzwater.
Okay, Ms. Quinn, can I have a motion to approve Section 11 Personnel Certificated, items A through J?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Evans?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 12, Personnel Non-Certificated, Mr. Capello.
And real quick, before we begin with Section 12, Mrs. Jeanette Oliver was in the agenda for this evening. She is going to be taking on the role of the interim assistant principal at New Albany School. She is a product of Cinnaminson Schools and has been a teacher with us at New Albany School for a number of years, so congratulations, Ms. Oliver. We look forward to working with you in this new role. Now moving on to Section 12, Personnel Non-Certificated, under letter A, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 5 as listed in the agenda. Letter B, leaves of absences, there is 1 listed in the agenda. Under letter C, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 6 as listed in the agenda. Under letter D, seeking the board to approve items 1 and 2. There are no transfers or job descriptions on the agenda, so I move down to Section G, seeking the board's approval on items 1 and 2 as listed in the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Ms. Iacone, can I have a motion to approve Section 12 Personnel Non-Certificated, items A through G?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gaffney. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Blystine?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 13, Curriculum and Instruction. Dr. Goldburn.
Thank you very much. Under 13, letter A, requesting approval of the professional development requests that are attached. Under letter B, requesting approval of the field trip requests that are attached. There's nothing for C and D. And under letter E, requesting approval of the memberships, numbers 1 and 2.
Thank you, Dr. Goldburn. Mr. Evans, can I have a motion to approve Section 13, Curriculum and Instruction, items A through E?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Blystine?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. We're moving through Section 14, Special Ed, nothing on the agenda for that. And also Section 15, nothing under policy, so we're moving on to Section 16, Business and Finance, and a blast from the past, Mr. Egan.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under grants, that the board accepts the revised 2022-23 funding statement for services under chapters 192, 193 as attached. And item 2 is the additional funding request, requesting additional funding for the 2022-23 services, again, under chapters 192, 193. Chapters 192, 193 is state aid that flows through us for our 2 non-public schools that reside within our school district, St. Charles Borromeo, as well as Westfield Friends. Under finance, the first one is, there's just wording modified by the submission of our 2023 budget to the county office for their review. So they wished us to, they advised us to modify the wording for the maintenance reserve withdrawal, the 23-24 budget year. So included in the budget, line 630, budgeted withdrawal from the maintenance reserve is $500,000 for required maintenance projects, including electrical, plumbing, mechanical maintenance, and support of required maintenance costs for the district facilities. These funds are allocated in budget account 11-000261. Item 2, requesting approval of the mileage reimbursement as per New Jersey Administrative Code for staff members as attached. Item 3, requesting approval of the closure of the Soloway Scholarship Account per the attached request. And item 4, requesting approval of opening up a B.J. Burger there for a friend scholarship account, again, per the attached letter. Under operations, we have a few tonight. Again, thank you to Sodexo for their contribution and donation to the high school for the Healthy High School Challenge, $500. 2, requesting approval of the application for renewal with the School Alliance Insurance Fund per the attached application. 3 is a bus disposal, requesting disposal of one 2007 Bluebird 54-passenger bus which expires in the current year and is in need of major repairs as attached. Under contracts, first one is the food service management renewal contract with Sodexo Management for the 2023-24 school year. The management fee shall pay Sodexo management fee in amount equal to $63,634.50 per year, payable in 10 equal installments of $6,363.45 for the 2023-24 school year. The break even, there's no break even, but if the food service operation results in a deficit for the 23-24 school year, the unlimited guarantee per state mandate shall apply. 2, the renewal contract with Phoenix Advisors, that the board approves a renewal agreement with Phoenix Advisors for the 2023-24 year, and the base fee is $1,350. Phoenix Advisors is our financial advisor, and they provide financial disclosure and online website continued disclosure documents for the school district. And that is all I have, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Egan. Ms. Blystein, can I have oh my God, doing too many things at once here. A motion to approve Section 16, Business and Finance, items A through D.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Thanks for the save, too. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Evans?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. 17, there is no other business. 18, public comment on matters that aren't necessarily on the agenda. So during the public comment section of the meeting, the board will seek public comment on any item. Members of the public are reminded that if they wish to speak when called upon, they should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. Anyone? 6:30. You hear me?
Good evening. My name's Ashley Neild, and I live at 1012 Highland Avenue. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a mother of a second-grade student at New Albany School with a neurodiversity. I'm also a therapist who has provided mental health services to children for over 13 years. I have traveled to see children in schools all over various school districts in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey. I also hold 2 postmaster's certifications. After last month's board meeting, where I spoke and appealed to the school board to do better for students of different abilities, I became credentialed with 2 more major insurance plans, and I posted about it in our local Facebook page. In the last month, I've received over 50 phone calls from families in Cinnaminson who are looking for support for their children. I can certainly now tell you with absolute certainty that we are not getting inclusion correct here in Cinnaminson. After attending the CPAC presentation on inclusion, I requested an IEP amendment meeting for my child with the child study team at New Albany School. When I received a returned phone call from the case manager, she asked me why I was calling this meeting. I told her that full inclusion in a second grade classroom was never presented to my husband and I at our December meeting. We were only offered 2 different forms of exclusion, and I was told during this phone call, "Well, Mrs. Neild, your daughter didn't technically qualify for any of those supports, but we put her there because you asked for help." Excuse me? This doesn't make any sense. My daughter was removed from her peers because I asked for help. That isn't how the educational system is supposed to work. After the last school board meeting, I had to drive my daughter to school one day after an appointment. On our way there, my daughter started a conversation with me about the resource room. And it's interesting because this has been a topic at the last several board meetings about how the children feel about the special education population. And this was completely unprompted by me. She has no idea that these conversations have been happening. But she told me how embarrassed she was to go there and how she didn't want anyone to know. She told me that she only shared with her closest best friend that she was being removed from her classroom. She told me she feels stupid. She told me that she is upset that she can't do the things that the other students are doing. Often she cries at night about the things that she, in her own mind, feels too stupid to do. All because she and I have both asked for help. She is being excluded. That is not inclusion. She's 7 years old and she knows the difference. Every professional I've spoken to has advised me to get her out of there as fast as possible because she'll fall further behind. And I have to tell you it's true. I now have firsthand knowledge of the difference in the work between resource and regular education, and it's not the same. I've saved every single piece of paper that has come home this school year. They are not in any way comparable. As of right now, my daughter's only diagnosis is listed as ADHD. Students with ADHD can thrive in a regular education setting with the proper modifications and accommodations to the curriculum. As all students can also be accommodated in a regular education classroom, not just students with ADHD. My daughter is scheduled to receive thorough neuropsych testing in May to better understand why she's struggling so much. When the board approves paying for outside evaluations, you're supporting students like mine who are desperately trying to not just survive in school, but to thrive there. I can't give you other examples, but I know for sure that second grade is not the only grade in Cinnaminson schools where full inclusion is not offered, but instead exclusion. This is not acceptable, and it can't continue. When I advocated for my daughter to be put back in regular education with accommodations and modifications, I knew that it would come at a cost that has become her kind, warm, and loving teacher, a teacher who I fully believe is doing the best that she can. I knew the laundry list of supports I requested would be put on her, and that's exactly what's happened. I am pro-teacher. My sister was a high school biology teacher before she changed careers. My husband's best friend, who's a Cinnaminson graduate, is a director of curriculum in another district. His wife, a middle school autistic support teacher. My best friend, a kindergarten teacher in Camden. I have had so many conversations with each of them about how challenging it is to be a teacher today. And so many other teachers that I've worked with over the years have given me their personal phone numbers because they so desperately need support for their students that they love as their own. Students and teachers in Cinnaminson deserve better supports to make inclusion possible for all students within the district. It is so disheartening to hear that co-taught classrooms, more aides, and one-to-ones are not possible here because of money and budgets. It's so also disheartening to hear that students' basic needs cannot be met when we have money to pay for other things like lacrosse coaches and a guitar tube class at the high school. While both of those things are positively contributing to students' mental health, how can we provide what some students need, but not access to a basic inclusive education for all students in this district? Why does that have to be how it is? The New Jersey Coalition for Inclusive Education has been offering and is more than willing to provide additional staff development and trainings to the staff and administrators in Cinnaminson to make our schools more inclusive. This summer, they're hosting an Inclusive Leadership Conference at Montclair State University. This conference is being hosted by the New Jersey Department of Education, along with the Montclair State University Center for Autism and Early Childhood Mental Health. The training is free for school administrators. It is free for school administrators to attend. I've already purchased my ticket as a parent and an advocate. I encourage the administrators in Cinnaminson to attend this training, along with the Board of Education members, to start on a path of making Cinnaminson schools inclusive for students of all abilities to get their basic needs met. And also, if you'd like to tour a school who is fully providing inclusion, check out Berkeley Heights School District in Union County. They have made a commitment to implementing full inclusion in their district. Inclusion is going so well there that families are moving there just to access this inclusive environment for their children. I encourage all of you on the school board to do your own research to better understand exactly what inclusion looks like and what it means. The children of Cinnaminson are counting on you to do better, and my daughter is counting on you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Neal.
I'm Callista Klein. I live at 2619 Riverton Road, and my comments are sort of connected to the agenda item on Chromebooks, because I have 2 kids now that are in rush school with Chromebooks, and despite the complaints I get about how heavy their backpacks are, they love having them. And as a follow-up, as a substitute teacher in the district, I absolutely love what this district does as far as giving substitutes a login so that when I go to Rush or New Albany, I can get a Chromebook. Teachers have emailed me their plans, have emailed me their lessons, so I can see them before I come into school. I can know what I'm doing that day with the kids, and it's as seamless as possible, as opposed to I've subbed in other districts where you kind of get thrown in and there's lessons that say, well, the kids have everything on Canvas. Like, okay, so I have no idea what the kids are doing that day. So it's been nice. And I really think that that's a nice touch that Cinnaminson does by giving substitutes their own login. I can better have access and serve the kids when I come in. So just a thank you for that, because I think it's a really great thing that the township does.
Thank you for those comments, and thank you for subbing, and please tell your friends. Any other comments from the public at this time?
Okay. We're going to move on to 19 comments from the board. Mrs. Turner?
Good evening. Thank you to Lisa Friedrich, Food Service Director, and Sodexo for the donations. Thank you to Steve Creel for the presentation and your hard work on this one-on-one program. Congratulations to all the high school students who participated in the fantastic production of Chicago this year's high school musical, and congratulations to the middle school students who participated in the successful production of Crazy for You, this year's middle school musical. We'd also like to thank all of the parents who volunteered their time and more to help make all these shows possible. Congratulations to our stellar track teams. As a reminder, there's a student versus staff soccer game in honor in honor and memory of Madison Harris on Thursday, April 27th at 6:30 PM at the high school. We would love to see everyone there to support. Thank you to Emma, Lucia, and Avina for your organized student reports. Congratulations to our board secretary, Melissa Livingood, who became a mom to Lucy and Oliver on April 8th. Mom and dad and the two beautiful babies are all doing well. The next meeting of the Board of Education for the public hearing on the budget is Tuesday, April 25th at 5:00 PM in the library at the middle school. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be May 8th at 7 PM right here in the cafetorium at the middle school. Information can be found on the district website. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. We are finished for the night, so Mr. Gaffney, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?